The scent of lavender and lemon polish usually filled Grandma Alara's sun-drenched living room, a comforting aroma that spoke of generations of meticulous care and unwavering tradition, a silent testament to the enduring legacy of the Hayes family. But today, the air was thick with something else, a brittle, almost electric tension that hummed beneath the polite chatter of teacups and whispered greetings, a palpable unease that settled deep in my bones. Every third Saturday of the month, the matriarchs of our sprawling family gathered for their sacred tea and tattles, a genteel euphemism for a no-holds-barred session of gossip, judgment, and thinly veiled competition, a ritual as old as the antique lace doilies adorning every surface. I was Lily May, her only granddaughter, and usually, I was relegated to the role of silent observer, a phantom presence gliding through the room, serving biscuits and refilling teapots, a ghost, in the grand tapestry of their lives, my opinions unasked, my presence barely acknowledged. But today, I felt a spotlight burning on my back, a premonition of impending doom, a cold dread that tightened its icy grip around my chest. Grandma Alara, a woman forged from steel and southern charm, presided over the antique mahogany table, like a queen on her throne, her posture ramrod straight, her gaze commanding. Her silver hair, meticulously coiffed into a perfect bun, framed a face that could soften into a loving smile or harden into an unyielding mask of disapproval in an instant, a testament to her formidable will. Today, it was unequivocally the latter. Her cousins, a formidable trio of equally sharp-tongued women, Aunt Beatrice, Aunt Clara, and Cousin Mildred, sat around her, their eyes like hers, glinting with an unnerving intensity, their expressions a blend of curiosity and thinly veiled judgment. They were the self-appointed arbiters of family success, the silent judges of every life choice, every deviation from the prescribed path, and I, it seemed, was about to be put on trial, my life dissected under their unforgiving scrutiny. My hands, clammy and trembling, gripped the delicate porcelain teapot, its warmth doing little to thaw the ice spreading through my veins. I had been trying, foolishly, to explain my latest venture, a small online business selling handmade artisanal soaps, a passion project I had poured my heart and meager savings into, a desperate attempt to carve out my own path. I thought with a naive optimism that now seemed utterly foolish, that perhaps today they might see the spark of ambition, the flicker of independence, the nascent signs of something real. I was profoundly, devastatingly wrong. "So, Lily May," Grandma Alara began, her voice usually a melodic drawl that could soothe a crying child, now sharp as a freshly honed blade, cutting through the polite murmurs and the clinking of china. "Tell us again about this business of yours." The word business was delivered with a dismissive curl of her lip, a sneer that stripped it of any dignity, as if it were a child's fleeting fantasy, a mere pastime, certainly not a serious endeavor. Aunt Beatrice sniffed, a sound of pure disdain that conveyed volumes of unspoken judgment. Cousin Mildred adjusted her spectacles, her gaze scrutinizing, dissecting, as if searching for a fundamental flaw in my very soul, a genetic predisposition to failure. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the sudden suffocating silence, so loud I was sure everyone in the office could hear its frantic rhythm, a testament to my rising panic. I felt the familiar blush creep up my neck, a telltale sign of my discomfort, a beacon of my vulnerability. "It's called Petal and Clay, Grandma," I managed, my voice a shaky whisper, barely audible above the ringing in my ears. "I make natural, organic soaps and bath bombs. I've been selling them online, and I'm hoping to get into some local farmers markets soon, expanding my reach, building a brand." I tried to inject enthusiasm, a spark of confidence, a belief in my own vision, but it felt hollow, swallowed by the oppressive atmosphere, suffocated by their collective disapproval. The air grew heavier, pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. Grandma Alara leaned forward, her eyes, usually warm and loving, now cold and piercing, like chips of glacial ice. "Online? Farmers markets?" She scoffed, a harsh, derisive sound that echoed in the quiet room, a sound designed to wound. "Lily May, darling, when are you going to get serious? When are you going to stop playing at life and actually do something with yourself? Your cousin Amelia, bless her heart, just got promoted to senior vice president at her firm, earning a six-figure salary, commanding respect. Your brother Thomas is already a successful lawyer, building a formidable practice, making a name for himself. And you're selling glorified dish soap, scented trinkets from your kitchen. You're nearly 30. You have a college degree, and you're still floundering. Her voice dropped, a low, cutting whisper that somehow carried through the entire room, each word a precise, surgical strike against my self-esteem. Honestly, child, sometimes I just look at you and wonder what went wrong. What happened to the bright girl we all had such high hopes for? You're a disappointment. The words were a physical blow, each one landing with the force of a sledgehammer against my chest, shattering the fragile remnants of my confidence. Floundering. Disappointment. The accusations hung in the air, heavy and suffocating like a shroud. My cheeks burned, not just from embarrassment, but from a deep, searing pain that twisted in my gut. I felt the collective gaze of the cousins, their silent judgment, their pity, their thinly veiled satisfaction at my public humiliation. Aunt Clara clucked her tongue, a sound of mock sympathy that felt more like a condemnation. Such a shame. Alara, such a sweet girl, but no drive, no ambition, no real direction. Then, Grandma Alara's voice, usually so controlled, so composed, cracked. A tremor ran through her, subtle but unmistakable. "You're useless, Lily May," she said. Her voice barely above a whisper, yet it echoed in the sudden, profound silence, reverberating in the hollow chambers of my mind. Absolutely useless. You bring nothing to this family but disappointment. The words were brutal, a public execution of my self-worth, a final, crushing blow. My vision blurred, tears pricking at my eyes, threatening to spill over, hot and angry. I wanted to scream, to defend myself, to tell them about the sleepless nights, the endless hours, the passion I poured into my craft, the small victories I cherished. But the words were stuck in my throat, choked by the overwhelming shame, by the sheer weight of her condemnation. I looked at Grandma Alara, expecting to see the usual cold disapproval, the unyielding judgment, the hardened mask of the matriarch. But instead, her eyes were glistening. A single tear, then another, traced a path down her wrinkled cheek, catching, the sunlight reflecting a hidden pain. Her lips trembled. She was crying. My formidable, unyielding grandmother, the woman who never showed weakness, who prided herself on her stoicism, was crying. The sight of it was more shocking than her. Cruel words more disorienting than the public humiliation. It was a paradox, a jarring dissonance that shattered my understanding of the moment, twisting the knife of humiliation into a knot of bewildering pain. She called me useless, but her tears told a different story. A story I couldn't comprehend. A story that hinted at a deeper sorrow, a hidden motive, a secret burden she carried. What was happening? Why was she crying? The question burned in my mind, eclipsing the sting of her words, leaving me utterly bewildered. The single tear on Grandma Alara's cheek was a beacon in the swirling fog of my humiliation, a tiny shimmering anomaly that refused to let me simply accept her brutal words as mere condemnation. Useless. The word had been a familiar echo in the quiet chambers of my mind, whispered by my own insecurities, reinforced by the subtle judgments of a family that valued traditional, tangible success above all else, a family steeped in the rigid expectations of Southern society. I was Lily May, the artistic one, the dreamer, the one who never quite fit into the neat, predefined mold of corporate ambition or societal expectations, always feeling like an outlier, a square peg in a round hole. My brother, Thomas, a brilliant, highly successful lawyer, and my cousin, Amelia, a rising star in the cutthroat world of finance, were the golden children, their paths clear, their achievements lauded, their futures seemingly paved with gold. I, on the other hand, had always struggled to find my footing, to define my own version of success. After college, I'd tried the corporate world, a brief, suffocating stint in marketing that left me feeling hollow and uninspired, my creativity stifled, my spirit slowly eroding under the weight of endless meetings and soulless spreadsheets. I'd bounce between various jobs: a barista, a freelance graphic designer, a part-time assistant, each one a temporary port in a storm of uncertainty, a desperate attempt to find something that resonated with my soul. My parents, bless their hearts, had always been supportive, their love a constant, unwavering presence. But even their encouragement carried an unspoken plea for me to find my path, to settle down, to be practical, to conform to the expectations that weighed heavily on our family name. Grandma Alara, however, had been less subtle, her disapproval a palpable force. She was a woman who had built her life on hard work, resilience, and a fierce dedication to appearances, to maintaining the family's pristine image. Her generation believed in tangible success: a stable job, a good marriage, a respectable position in the community, a life lived within the lines. My meandering journey, my pursuit of passion over profit, my unconventional choices were, in her eyes, a sign of weakness, a failure to launch, a profound disappointment. My artisanal soap business, Petal and Clay, was my desperate, defiant attempt to prove myself, not just to them, but to me, to carve out a space where I could thrive on my own terms. It was born from a period of profound personal struggle, a time when I felt truly lost, adrift in a sea of uncertainty. 2 years ago, I had been diagnosed with a chronic illness, an invisible battle that drained my energy, clouded my mind, and forced me to reevaluate everything I thought I knew about my future. The corporate world became impossible, a relentless treadmill I could no longer keep pace with. The pressure, the long hours, the constant demands. They were simply unsustainable for my ailing body. My illness was a secret I guarded fiercely, a vulnerability I couldn't bear to share, especially with my family, who I feared would see it as another excuse, another reason for my floundering, another mark against my name. Making soaps, working with my hands, creating something beautiful and tangible from raw ingredients became my therapy, my anchor, my quiet rebellion. It was slow, painstaking work, requiring immense patience and precision, but it brought me a quiet joy, a profound sense of purpose I hadn't felt in years. Every bar of soap, every bath bomb, was a small victory against the limitations of my body, a testament to my resilience, a tangible manifestation of my spirit. I was building something, slowly, painstakingly, but it was mine, a testament to my own strength. So, to hear Grandma Alara call me useless, to see her dismiss my efforts as glorified dish soap, was a familiar sting, a wound that reopened old scars. But the tears were a jarring dissonance, a discordant note in the symphony of her usual stoicism. Grandma Alara never cried. Not when Grandpa passed, a man she had loved fiercely for 60 years. Not when her beloved rose garden, a source of immense pride, was destroyed by a freak storm. Not even when her favorite porcelain doll, a priceless family heirloom, accidentally shattered into 1,000 pieces. She was the rock, the unyielding matriarch, the embodiment of strength, her emotions always held tightly in check. Her tears were a crack in the very foundation of my understanding of her and of our family, a profound mystery I felt compelled to unravel. I remembered stories my mother used to tell me about Grandma Alara's youth, whispered tales of a different life. She had been a brilliant artist, a painter with a fierce, independent spirit, her canvases alive with vibrant colors and bold strokes. She had dreamed of going to art school in Paris, of living a life dedicated to her craft, of escaping the confines of their small southern town. But her family, strict and traditional, had forbidden it, seeing art as a frivolous pursuit, not a respectable career. They had arranged her marriage to Grandpa, a kind but conventional man, and steered her towards a life of domesticity and social obligation, a path she had dutifully followed. She had buried her dreams, her artistic talent channeled into meticulous, gardening and perfectly organized homes, her vibrant spirit slowly subdued. My mother always said Grandma Alara had a sadness in her eyes that no one ever spoke about, a quiet melancholy that lingered beneath her formidable exterior, a ghost of a life unlived. Was this it? Was her outburst today, her tears somehow connected to her own buried dreams, her own sacrifices, her own regrets. Was she seeing her own unfulfilled potential, her own suppressed desires, reflected in my unconventional path, in my struggle to pursue a creative life? Was her anger a twisted form of protection, a desperate attempt to steer me away from a path she believed led to heartbreak, to the same quiet disappointment she had carried for decades? But there was another, more unsettling possibility, a darker thread weaving through the tapestry of our family history. A family secret. Our family, for all its outward appearances of Southern gentility and impeccable manners, for all its carefully cultivated image of respectability, had its share of hidden narratives, hushed whispers, and carefully guarded skeletons in the closet. My great-aunt, Aunt Beatrice, for instance, had always been unusually close to Grandma Alara, almost like a shadow, her confidant, her silent partner in maintaining the family's facade. She was the one who always seemed to know everything, the one whose eyes held a particular knowing glint whenever family history was discussed, a silent acknowledgement of unspoken truths. And today, her disdain for my business had been particularly sharp, almost venomous, a cutting edge that went beyond mere disapproval. Was there something more to this than just a generational clash or a critique of my career choice? Was there a deeper, darker reason for Grandma Alara's tears, a secret she was trying to protect, even at the cost of publicly shaming me, of sacrificing my dignity? The thought sent a cold shiver down my spine, a prickle of unease. The tea and tattles was not just about gossip, it was about control, about maintaining the family narrative, about protecting its carefully constructed image from any perceived threat. And perhaps I, with my independent spirit and my unconventional choices, was inadvertently threatening that narrative, exposing a vulnerability they couldn't afford to reveal, a hidden truth that could unravel everything. The tears, the public humiliation, it felt like a desperate act, a sacrifice, but for what? The question gnawed at me. A relentless itch I couldn't scratch. A puzzle I desperately needed to solve. I had to find out. The tea and tattles ended abruptly after Grandma Alara's outburst, the cousins quickly dispersing, their whispers following, me like a cloud of judgment. I retreated to the guest room, the brutal words echoing in my ears, but it was the image of Grandma's tears that truly haunted me. I couldn't reconcile the two. Later that evening, as the house grew quiet, I found her in the dimly lit parlor, staring out the window, a fragile silhouette against the fading twilight. She looked small, vulnerable, a stark contrast to the formidable matriarch of the afternoon. "Grandma?" I whispered, my voice tentative. She flinched, startled, then slowly turned. Her eyes were still red-rimmed, her face etched with a profound weariness I had never seen before. "Lily May," she said, her voice raspy. I'm sorry, child, for what I said." "Why did you say it, Grandma?" I asked, my voice breaking. "And why were you crying?" She sighed, a deep, shuddering breath that seemed to carry the weight of decades. "Come sit, darling. There's something you need to know. Something I should have told you a long time ago." She patted the cushion beside her on the antique settee. I sat, my heart pounding, a sense of impending revelation washing over me. My family, the Hayes family, we've always prided ourselves on our reputation, our standing in the community, she began, her voice low, almost a murmur. "But there's a secret, Lily May. A dark stain on our history that we've fought to keep buried for generations. My great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, he wasn't the upstanding businessman everyone remembers. He was involved in illicit activities, bootlegging, gambling, loan sharking. He built his fortune on the backs of others, and he made powerful enemies." My eyes widened. This was not the story I knew. Our family history was always presented as one of honest hard work and shrewd investments. "When he died," she continued, her gaze distant, lost in the past, "he left behind a mountain of debt and a trail of dangerous connections. My father, your great-grandfather, spent his entire life trying to clean up the mess, to legitimize the family name, to pay off the debts and silence the threats. He succeeded mostly, but the shadow never truly left us. There was always someone, somewhere, who knew. Someone who could, if they chose, expose our past, ruin our reputation, destroy everything we had painstakingly rebuilt. She paused, her eyes meeting mine, filled with a deep, ancient pain. That's why I was forbidden from going to art school, Lily May. Not because art was frivolous, but because my family needed me to marry well, to marry into a family with impeccable connections, to further solidify our standing, to protect us. My artistic dreams, they were a luxury we couldn't afford. I had to sacrifice them for the family's survival. Her voice cracked, a raw, exposed wound. I buried that part of myself, just like my father buried his father's sins. I became the matriarch they needed, the one who upheld appearances, who ensured no one ever questioned our respectability. But what does that have to do with me, Grandma? I asked, still confused. A few months ago, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper, I received a letter. Not anonymous, but from a man named Silas Blackwood. He's the grandson of one of my great-grandfather's old associates, a man who lost everything because of him. Silas has been digging, Lily May. He's found proof of our family's past, the illicit dealings, the debts, the threats. And he wants to expose us. He wants to ruin us, to bring down the Hayes name, to destroy everything I've worked my entire life to protect. My blood ran cold. But why now? Why after all these years? He's dying, she said, a single tear, escaping again. He has nothing left to lose, and he wants revenge. He gave me an ultimatum. He wants a substantial sum of money, a fortune, to keep silent. Money that I don't have, not without liquidating everything, destroying the family's financial stability. And if I don't pay, he'll go public. He'll release all the documents, all the proof to the media. He'll expose us all. But what does that have to do with me being useless? He's been watching you, Lily May, she confessed, her voice filled with a desperate anguish. He knows about your illness. He knows about your struggles. He knows you're not the successful one, the one with the stable career. He sees you as the weakest link, the easiest target. He told me that if I didn't pay, he would specifically target you. He would expose your illness, your failures, paint you as a burden, a drain on the family, a symbol of our decay. He said he would make sure your little soap business failed, that no one would ever trust a floundering, sickly woman with their money. He wanted to break me by breaking you. My breath hitched. The cruelty of it was staggering. I tried to reason with him, she continued, her voice raw with pain. I begged him not to involve you, but he was relentless. He said the only way to prove I was serious about protecting the family, about protecting you, was to publicly disown you, to show him that you meant nothing to me, that you were expendable. He wanted me to break you myself, to prove my loyalty to the family's dark secret. He wanted me to call you useless, to make sure everyone heard it, to make sure you heard it. He wanted me to crush your spirit, to make you believe it, so you wouldn't fight back when he came for you. She looked at me, her eyes brimming with unshed tears, a profound agony etched on her face. I couldn't let him destroy you, Lily May. I couldn't let him expose your illness, your struggles, to the world. I couldn't let him ruin your chances at happiness. So I did what he asked. I sacrificed my pride. I sacrificed your feelings. I sacrificed everything to protect you. I called you useless because I thought it was the only way to make him believe you weren't worth his time, that you were already broken. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, my darling girl. It broke my heart to say those words, to see the pain in your eyes. But I thought it was the only way to save you. The revelation hit me like a tidal wave, washing away the humiliation, the anger, the confusion, replacing it with a profound, aching understanding. Her tears. Her pain. It wasn't about my failure. It was about her desperate attempt to protect me, to protect our family from a ghost of the past. She hadn't been trying to hurt me. She had been trying to save me in the only way she thought possible. Grandma, I whispered, reaching out and taking her trembling hand. You don't have to do this. You don't have to pay him. You don't have to protect this secret anymore." She looked at me bewildered. "But he'll expose us. He'll ruin everything." "No," I said, my voice firm, filled with a newfound resolve. "He won't, because I'm going to expose him first, and I'm going to use my useless little soap business to do it." Over the next few weeks, fueled by a shared purpose and a fierce determination, Grandma Alara and I worked tirelessly. She provided me with every detail she knew about Silas Blackwood, his associates, and the remnants of his grandfather's network. I, in turn, used my digital marketing skills, the very skills she had dismissed, to meticulously research Silas, to uncover his weaknesses, to find a way to turn his threats against him. I didn't just make soaps. I understood online presence, social media, viral campaigns. I crafted a compelling narrative, not about our family's dark past, but about Silas Blackwood's current extortion attempt, framing him as a ruthless blackmailer preying on an elderly woman. I gathered evidence of his threats, his demands, his attempts to exploit my grandmother's vulnerability. Then, I launched it. Not a public exposé of our family's history, which would have been devastating, but a carefully orchestrated social media campaign targeting key influencers and investigative journalists, exposing Silas Blackwood's blackmail scheme. I used my Petal and Clay platform, leveraging its small but loyal following, to subtly amplify the message, framing it as a story of an innocent family being targeted. The story went viral. The media picked it up. Silas Blackwood, who had thrived in the shadows, was suddenly thrust into the harsh glare of public scrutiny. He was arrested for extortion, his threats rendered impotent by the very digital world Grandma Alara had scorned. The family was shocked, not by the revelation of the past, which was carefully managed and presented as a historical injustice being exploited, but by my ingenuity, my resilience, my unexpected strength. Grandma Alara, once the stoic matriarch, became my fiercest champion. She told everyone, proudly, about my courage, about how I had saved the family from ruin. My soap business, Petal and Clay, exploded. People were drawn to the story of resilience, of turning perceived weakness into strength. My illness, once a hidden shame, became a part of my narrative, a testament to my determination. One afternoon, months later, Grandma Alara and I sat in her living room, the scent of lavender and lemon polish once again comforting. The cousins were gone. She held a bar of my lavender soap, inhaling its scent. "You know, Lily May," she said, her voice soft, her eyes clear. "I always thought my artistic dreams were useless, a luxury I couldn't afford. I buried them. But you found a way to make beauty, to make art, and to make it useful. You are anything but useless, my darling girl. You are everything I wished I could have been." And this time when she cried, they were tears of pure, unadulterated, true pride.